Hey parents, Randy here. This Sunday, we're going to be talking about promises with your kids. Now, have you ever read the back of a package or a bag and it claims to do a certain thing? It claims to make a promise, and then you try it out and it kind of lets you down. I had a bare patch in my front yard, and I went to the store and I looked through all the different bags of grass seed and things to fix bare spots in your yard. And so I picked up this bag, and it had a big label on the front, guaranteed to work. And so I flip it over and I look at the back of it, and it's guaranteed to grow grass in any environment, in any place, and you don't even have to even water it all the time, which I never understood that. But anyway, it said that you could do that. And so I sold it, or I bought into it, and they sold me, and I bought it, and I took it home. And I believed in that promise. And so I did exactly what the instructions asked me to do, and I did it in the front yard just like it was supposed to be, and I waited. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and nothing ever came. Nothing ever grew. I was frustrated. I was actually let down. There was an expectation that I had there that never happened. So I raked all that stuff away, got rid of it, went to look it up on YouTube, of all things, and just bought regular old grass seed and regular old hay and straw and threw it down there and watered it day after day after day. And it seemed like all hope was gone. Even this made a promise on YouTube of doing it this particular method, and I felt like all hope was gone. And I went out one day in the morning, getting ready to start the watering, and I saw a little green shoot. And one little green shoot gave me hope. I saw one little shoot up, and I was like, yes, I'm finally going to have grass out here. And sure enough, weeks later, I had little shoots all over the place. Promises. A promise happened way back in the Old Testament. It talks about a shoot shooting up. And that shoot was out of the lineage of David. And that's the Messiah, Jesus. This Sunday, we're going to celebrate Palm Sunday. And we're going to talk about promises with your kids. Promises were made all throughout the Old Testament that testified about what was going to happen in the New Testament with Jesus coming about. There was going to be a new Messiah. And it seemed like that would never happen for hundreds and hundreds of years after those testimonies. It seemed to be like God was not moving at all. And then all of a sudden, into the New Testament, we have this promise fulfilled in Jesus. And Palm Sunday was one of those promises fulfilled. In fact, in the book of Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 9, Zechariah prophesied exactly how Jesus was going to enter into the city, and how the palm branches were going to be used, and how he was to enter in on the back of a colt or back of a donkey. We can believe those promises, even in the darkest times. With my grass, I had no hope until I saw that one little shoot of growth. And all it took was just a little bit of growth, and I had hope. Even when the world seems to let us down, even when people seem to let us down, and we will let each other down, even when that happens, we have hope. We have a little shoot of hope, knowing that God will always be faithful to us. God always keeps his promises. When God makes a promise, he keeps it. And so I ask you, take a look at what God has promised you. Open up his word and see all the promises that are in there. He promised he'd never leave you nor forsake you. He promised he would always be there with you. He promised that his loving kindnesses would be new every single morning, just for you and your family. Claim those promises for yours. While the world's promises and claims may let us down, God's never will. And that's what we'll be talking about to your kids this morning, or this Sunday morning during church. And we want you to talk about those promises with your kids as well. That interchange between your kids, you and your own kids, is super powerful. So make sure you ask them about God's promises this Sunday. Thanks so much for being a part of our BNC family.